Oh hey, they released the original Clock Tower again for Switch and PC. That's cool, the old one is pretty annoying to control. Anyway, I think you should be at the park soon, just take left at the next intersection. Actually, are you even old enough to drive? Unity Engine and horror. Name a more iconic duo in the world of video game slop. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen games on Steam or YouTube that's made by some schmuck purchasing assets to make a buggy mess I refuse to call a game, label it as horror, and then sell it for $2 on Steam because they'll greenlight anything. It's not even that difficult to do, since pretty much anyone could pick up Unity and make something in a weekend by following some tutorials. It's just easy to make shovelware with this engine. This isn't me taking potshots at Unity, by the way. It's a fine engine that's accessible, despite some questionable decisions made by sleazy suits. Point is, you rarely associate the Unity engine with good horror games. Some great words have been made with it though, like The Forest, that I don't like, Baldi's Basics, that I don't like either, Sunless Sea, that I haven't played. So if I told you about an indie studio who made a retro throwback horror game with the Unity engine, you wouldn't be able to guess whether it's gonna be a good time or slop. Especially when said studio made like 3 unremarkable games in 10 years, which I looked up for this video, but I already forgot what they were about. When a friend told me about Crow Country, I took a look at the game and thought, oh, that seems neat, without any massive expectations. So when I got around to it, you can understand I didn't expect this game to be my favorite game of 2024. So sit down, get comfortable, and let me tell you about Crow Country. The year is 1990. And Mara-thon, a young police officer and firearms expert, is on her way to a closed amusement park to investigate the disappearance of Edward Crow, the owner of Crow Country. You take control of Mara in front of the entrance, and the game gives you a moment to familiarize yourself with the controls. At first glance, you might think this is gonna be a game with tank controls, but no. You have the option whether to have free control or tank controls, which is pretty nice. If I had to give a comparison, I'd say this game controls less like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, and more like... It pains me to say that, but like Extermination done well? It's thankfully not as slippery and you have true control over the camera, which makes gameplay a whole lot smoother. Looking around, you find the file of the person you're looking for, and it looks like a different cop took the deposition. Must be a colleague or something. Anyway, the entrance is locked and you don't have ammo for your gun. But if you look in your car's trunk, you find an ammo case that gives infinite handgun ammo and it's fine. The ammo case isn't an unconditional full refill every time you get back to it. It'll only give you one full clip if you're completely dry on handgun ammo. And I like the way this is implemented better. Because Mara doesn't have a melee attack and you need ammo to solve some puzzles in the game. It's a good solution to avoid softlocks, and since there's only one case in the entire game, it's not as egregious as in Extermination. Man, I didn't expect to draw so many comparisons to this game. Anyway, after shooting the lock, we get to the park's entrance and it sets the tone in a beautiful way. Okay folks, let me dissect why this place, seemingly unimportant, does such a wonderful job of setting your expectations for the entire game. First, the visual. You're at the entrance of an amusement park, a place that's usually busy and fairly clean. But here, it's empty and in disrepair, which makes the place feel strange and unreal. It feels like someone is watching you. And you'd be correct! You saw the security camera outside, in the corner of your eye. Second, the sound design. The eerie silence of the parking lot is broken by the cheery tune of the park running in the background, reinforcing the uneasiness you can feel. Third, the gameplay elements. Shooting the log to get inside the park teaches you that you can shoot at the environment to solve puzzles. Then, the entrance gives you the flashlight, tells you how to use it, and gives you some gameplay tips. Fourth, the writing. If you interact with the ticket booth, Mara says she has no intention of paying the entrance fee, which gives you some info about her main character. She's cheeky, and her quips will help relieve some tension during gameplay. All of these things come together to make a setup that's nearly perfect. And we're not even in the park yet, we're just in a transitional area. Horror games live and die by their intro, and Crow Country passes with flying colors. Once you get into the park proper, first open door you'll find is to the bathroom, where you'll find a laser sight for your gun. So now, you know you can find upgrade for your weapons. Cool, so now you're on the lookout for that too. The park is divided into 3 main areas: Fairy Tale Town, Haunted Hilltop, and Ocean Kingdom. Only Fairy Tale Town is open for now, so let's just grab some supplies from the crates around the hub first. Wait, what is that doing here? Okay, so forgive my European ignorance of the matter, but are grenades common finds at amusement parks in the US? Let me know in the comments below. Also subscribe while you're down there. In Fairy Tale Town, the first thing you'll find is a code written in blood. 2106. Ah, Wonder what it's for. Just like the entrance, this area of the park is pretty eerie. You know something is here, lurking in the dark. Some horrible, bloodthirsty creature who, never mind, it's just some guy. This is Arthur, a guy who took a picture of a monster from the park and came back to take more. But he got attacked and needs some help now. By giving him a medkit and bringing him to the car, you not only save his life, but also get the code to call the ferry. But first, it's time to encounter our first enemies. Okay, so I'll get back to them when we can actually see something, and instead address the elephant in the room. On paper? No. Aiming in Crow Country is weird, and you can probably tell just by looking at the footage. It locks you into place while placing the camera in your back, then lets you aim freely, which is a bit awkward because of the camera angle, but it somehow works? You can't really aim at enemies from that far away, but that's fine because your damage falls off quick if you shoot from a distance. Side note, but it's always been funny to me when guns have heavy damage fall off when you shoot at something more than 2 meters away from you. What am I using? A Nerf gun? Anyway, back to the matter at hand. Despite how weird it looks, the aiming doesn't feel too bad. I think the best way I can describe it is extermination, but done right. And without auto-aim. I can't say Resident Evil 4 because Mara doesn't have Parkinson like Leon. At the end of the tunnel, you'll find the Crow Lounge and... well, that wasn't here the first time I played. Okay, another side note, but it seems like after finishing the game once, crystal crows appear around the park for you to find and shoot. And since I wanna see what's behind that door, you'll see me shoot these every now and then. Back on track again! Here, you'll find the rest of the code to the ferry pond, as well as a keypad to enter the code we saw outside. Wait, what? Once you get out of the lounge, surprise! The park takes a turn for the bizarre and is now filled with weird guests, ugly kids, sentient puddles of vomit and... wait, no, that's just a regular amusement park experience actually. Now that we can actually see them, let's talk about the enemies. I won't talk too much about their behavior, they're mostly just zombies that come at you in a straight line and attack. Ironically enough, they're called guests, and they look grotesque. Some of them look somewhat human, but overall they look like walking tumors, which only adds to the weirdness. Not being totally sure what your enemies are is a luxury this kind of graphics can afford, because it builds a certain feeling of discomfort. Our brains are made to recognize patterns, and they don't like what they can't identify. Is it undead? Is it a monster? What is it? Speaking of graphics, this is an area where the game does pretty darn well. Between the filter and the models, it feels like it could be a PS1 game, but it's also one of those things where retro-inspired games tend to show they're retro-inspired. I know I talk about this game a lot on this show, but let's compare Crow Country to Resident Evil 1. In that game, models are a whole lot blockier, because they had to work with less polygons, which gives them a characteristic early 3D look. Crow Country does try to emulate this style with its character models, but you can tell they're more modern because of how smooth the rounded surfaces are. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing, it gives the game a pretty nice visual style, but it's one of those things you may have noticed if you play 4 retro 3D games. Anyway, while I was yapping, I picked up the bronze key from the ferry pond, which opens up the path to the second area of the park, Haunted Hilltop. First thing to do once you reach Haunted Hilltop, you ignore everything, go left, go into the dungeon, then press the button in the Iron Maiden. You'll be fine. Definitely fine. On the other side, pick up the blue box of ammo. Then you can go back to the park. Normally I wouldn't give away secrets, but you can miss this one. With that out of the way, let's talk about Haunted Hilltop. It's your spooky Halloween area of the amusement park, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't my favorite place. Seriously, come and enjoy the Halloween aesthetic. Meet weird ladies knocking on doors, visit the dungeon, solve piano puzzles, go to the crypt and get a shotgun pointed at your face. Wait, what the fuck? Man, amusement parks in the US sure love their guns, huh? That explains the ammo boxes in the vending machines. Anyway, let's go to the Haunted Mansion first, where we have the piano puzzle. And I love this one. Honestly, all puzzles in this game feel just right. They're not gonna hold your hand to figure it out, but they're not obtuse like some of the puzzles in Silent Hill 1. For this room, you need to look at the paintings and then play the notes on the piano corresponding to the word in bold to open the paintings. One of them will give you ammo, another will open the path forward, and the third one... Huh?
Do you want to see my flamethrower upgrade?
What? Sorry, I mean, what? I think I'll address that later. Going through the painting, we reach a maintenance area where we find Pike, the guy who was in charge of developing the park. By looking around his office, we find a tape where he blames Crow and talks about a certain Ellen Marshall. Ah, that name sounds important, I'll keep her in mind. Next we meet Natalie, Crow's daughter. You know, the girl who's reported that is missing. She's been attacked and is feeling sick, so you need to give her some medical help like you did with Arthur. I tend to just give her an antidote. Once she's done puking, she explains that the door to her father's office is electrified and that it requires the gold key. And that the power has been cut off so we can't use the maintenance elevators. Alright, thanks Natalie. After that, let's go down to the crypt, where if you can keep your nerves despite the shotgun aimed at you, you'll figure out the puzzle and open the room again. Then you can take the shotgun. Okay, you cheese. Anyway, now it's boss time. It might be tough to fight, but way too complicated when I have grenades. Then we reach another maintenance area where we find a machine that turns gold tubes into fake ores? A prison cell? What is going on in this park? Anyway, now we can open the door for Judy, who finally introduces herself. She's a lawyer hunting down Edward Crow to drag him to court over a kid who got attacked in this park 2 years prior, named Ellen Marshall. Apparently, Ellen was attacked by a guest who was brought to this cell and went to the hospital because of her injury. Must have been one hell of an event if it caused Ed Crow to close up shop. In this room, we'll also find the chest containing the crank. And to open it, you need to get the code from the tombstones in the previous room, which the hint in that same room alluded to as well. See what I mean about this game's puzzles? They're just beautifully crafted. The game gives you every pieces you need and leaves clues left and right for you to figure out everything by yourself. It doesn't hold your hand, and once you figure it out, it feels incredibly satisfying, because they're not necessarily hard, but they're not super easy either. Wait, I'm praising this game too much, and some people think I only make videos on games I hate. Well, there's that one puzzle that's really dumb in the mushroom. Get it? Where you'll find a pretty cool setup. 6 mushrooms put on plates, some of which are edible, some are poisonous. The room tells you which ones are toxic by using their common names, whereas the plates give their scientific name, to make it fancier and more courtly. If you talk to the king, he'll tell you both names so you can figure out which mushrooms you should avoid. Honestly, great setup and I love it. So here, you're probably gonna only eat the mushrooms that are edible, right? But nothing happens. And you might be wondering, what did I do wrong? Well, it's simple. You're stupid. Now I wouldn't be as pissed off if... Okay, that's a lie, I'd still be pissed off about this solution. But it's aggravating when you know it gives you a pretty big damage increase to your pistol. Why would you hide such a crucial upgrade behind such a stupid puzzle? Okay, that's enough hating on the game now, right? Can we move on? Okay, let's go. With the crank in hand, we can get back to the main area of the park and open the way to... Oh, hi there! Nice bike! Does your little sister know you took it? This is Harrison, the cop who took the missing person deposition from Natalie. But something's strange, he doesn't seem to recognize us. Isn't he a colleague? Something strange. Hey, I'm sure he'll be fine. He's looking for Natalie, and we're going to... Oh, what now? Excuse me, sir, can you let me finish my sentence? Huh. Weird. Okay, so now we're going to Ocean Kingdom. This entire park is a safety hazard. No wonder they got sued. Ocean Kingdom is the second to last area of the park, and it's honestly a pretty cool area too. The aesthetics for all 3 areas are very solid, and I'll admit that if this was a real park, I'd want to visit. First destination, the submarine. After picking up even more grenades. In there, you've got a shooting range with broken toy guns. Now you might think you'd need to repair one, but way too complicated when I've gone. Anyway, if you score 21 points total, you get the shotgun. A real one this time. In a display that kids could access pretty easily. The quantity of ammo, firearms and explosives in this park is genuinely worrying. Seriously, if a kid rocks up to the park's arcade and wins a prize, are they just gonna be handed an assault rifle? Those Americans, man. Speaking of arcade, that's where we are going next. Power is out for now, but here we meet Marv, who's a weirdo and an associate of Crow who's been looking for him. He talks about something called the Root, that it's something they've been digging up. Well, there is a dig site in Fairy Tale Town, but what's the Root? Well, Marv isn't going to explain because he's already gone. Behind him, we find another maintenance area, which serves as a shortcut to the lounge, where we can find Harrison again, who's having no luck finding Natalie. Okay, that's a valid reason, bud. Going back, wait, this crate wasn't open before. I'd say you can grenade this guy, but why do complicated when have bear trap? Head down another corridor and enter the restaurant. Open it up with the easiest code in the game, and here's another cool puzzle. If you make the soda machine match a certain pattern, you get a code that opens a display in the lounge. And what does it contain? A map showing the location of all the secrets in the game. Skipping ahead a bit, I get the woeful mask and get access to the witchwood. And when I first reached this area, it's the moment I realized that I really loved this game. It's nothing special really, just an eerie, spooky labyrinth with nothing particularly notable about it. There's no enemies, there's some resources around, it's just a good time to catch your breath, and once you get to the center of the labyrinth and grab the key item, boom. Now you're nervous, you can't see too well anymore, and you gotta find your way out while avoiding monsters. It is such a cool shift, and genuinely my favorite map in the entire game. Once you're out of the woods, the park just became a whole lot more dangerous. There's poisonous traps around trying to ruin your day, and fake resources that'll explode in your face. It's not just about the guests anymore. Someone clearly wants you gone. Also, hot damn were they quick to set up all this crap. I'm impressed. But no time to gloat about these traps. Now that we've got the trident, we can open the chest in the restaurant and get started on our shopping spree. The silver key unlocks so much stuff, it's arguably the best key item in the entire game. Once you're done getting new goodies, we can use it to turn on the power at the arcade, and I love this place. It's got functional mini-games! It even has a claw machine where you can't win, it's great! And if you play well enough, you can even win a prize! Huh, I was expecting a rocket launcher. That's fine, we'll just extend our shopping spree a bit. Also, can I just say that Zap Girl is very cute? Yeah, she's very cute. What is that doing here? There we go, I think we got everything. And now that we're done, let's go back to the maintenance area in Ocean Kingdom. Oh hey, they're here now! And that number 2106 again. What is it? Let's just get into the office. This is Stallman, the guy who was in charge of root excavation, whatever that is. And he's not very helpful. I mean, yeah, few people naturally have purple hair. Anyway, after solving a quick puzzle, we can turn the maintenance elevators back on. I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not supposed to break the fourth wall like that. Well, looking around, you also find some of Tallman's notes about the guests and... Wait, 2106 isn't a code? With the elevators now online, we can now access the final area of the game, the excavation tunnels, where we can find these... green metal tubes with gold inside of them. These are the roots that were mentioned throughout the game, and they're... man, I don't even know. All of them are in various states of excavation, except for one. It's really weird to describe these things. See what I meant with the guests earlier? You don't know what those things are, and it just adds more and more to the mystery. This area contrasts pretty hard with the surface, and there are some real freaky installations down there. But this is also where you'll find what you need to complete the game. Like a bottle of acid, another issue that's easily solved with a grenade, and Julie, who was put in a crate by some guy. I'm pretty sure it was Marv, because this sweaty bastard seems like the type who would do something like that. So what we'll do is ask Julie to help us operate one of the rides to get another key item, and... I forgot to turn off the fog machine. Wait, did Harrison take his bike down an elevator? Bro, why? This puzzle isn't hard if you can do basic math, so I'm gonna guess it was an issue for some people. And now that the fog is gone, it's time to do what we truly came here for. Ride one of the attractions! Whee! That was fun. Let's do that again sometimes. Hey Julie, do you wanna come with us? Guess not. Once you get back outside, the atmosphere has changed once again for something totally different. All the guests are dead, so going through the park is relatively safe again. And then the game decides you don't get to feel safe. The way it pulls the rug from under your feet after you see all the corpses, after you think you can take a breather, is a great reminder that no, this place is still dangerous. There is some presence you cannot catch, shooting at you from the darkness. It doesn't feel like it comes out of nowhere either. If all the guests are dead, don't you think it means someone is responsible? The game shows you the result, then reminds you the responsible is still around. God, I love this game. Also, I realized I also forgot to turn off the electric generator that electrifies the office door. It doesn't have an off button, but way too complicated when have gone. Alright, time to meet no one, because Ed isn't here. Instead, we get to look around his office, with a weird little setup behind a gold statue of his dead wife. And this is where things start to make sense. This is the tip of one of the roots. Next to it, you can find Ed's journal from when he was a kid and learn that those things contain pure gold on the inside, hence why they started excavating it. But it still doesn't answer one question. What is it? Another cool thing is a bunch of slides showing all the different kinds of guests you've met throughout the park, alongside a very cool code to find with it that I won't spoil for you. And after that, we can activate the last elevator to the end of the game, alongside... well, you get the idea now. With that, the path to the epilogue is open. Now I still got a couple crystal crows to find and shoot, so let's do that first. Awesome. Alright, time to finally learn what's going on here. Head down the main elevator and find Harrison, shot dead. We then learn that Mara isn't actually who she pretends to be, and stole Harrison's car, ID, and gun. And after a quick puzzle that made me feel stupid the first time around, we confront Tallman. And yet a gun pointed at us by Marv. The idea about this guy? Crow was sending fake gold ores made with the root gold down to Brazil, so it wouldn't be too suspicious. Marv supervised the operation, but the government examined the mine and realized something was off. And now he's screwed and wants to make Ed pay. And kill us because we know too much. Oh hey Julie, where did you go? Were you off partying with the guests in the vents? After deciding that she'd go and check on Harrison with Tallman, it's time for us to go further down. Down below the earth, down to the source of the roots, down to Edward's lab. Man, I love this game's humor. I think I've repeated myself enough at this point. This game's atmosphere is perfect. Once you reach the lab, this is it. Staring into the flames, you feel something. It's a curious mixture of dread and hope. Maybe everything will be okay, and maybe it will not. Behind that final door, we finally meet Edward Crow. He's definitely looking worse for wear, apparently due to exposure to the guests, and he reveals who Mara actually is. We've been Ellen Marshall all along, and Crow is willing to give us all the answers, about everything. The guests? They're humans! All of them! The pool in the center of the roots is a gateway, and the roots themselves serve as calibration antennas. Crow cutting them up messed with the device, which resulted in the guests coming up more and more mutated. Only the first guest could still talk, and Crow recorded what he had to say, before going back to excavating. So he knew what he was doing was messing things up, and he still kept going. Edward Crow is unquestionably evil, and he knows it. He knows that the guests carry a powerful bacteria that's gonna kill everyone they attacked, but he found a cure. And he made 5 doses. 1 for Arthur, 1 for Julie, 1 for Tallman, 1 for Natalie, and 1 for you. I really like this turn of events. Crow knows there's no redemption for him. He did awful things, and it's too late for him to have regrets. And so, he's at least trying to make things right before jumping in the pool to see what's on the other side. It's really difficult to feel sympathy for Crow, but I also find it hard to truly hate him because he does have some integrity. And in the end, he gives us the recording of what the first guest said, and asks us to kill him if he comes back. Before we start fighting, you can go and check in the inventory to see what the note says. And I'm not going to show you. This twist is so insane that I genuinely think it's something you should experience for yourself. I just can't bring myself to spoil it. Now, about Crow himself. You might have noticed that I picked up a magnum during our shopping spree. Since I've gotten all the secrets, I also have all 15 bullets for it. I won't need more than that. And that was Crow Country. And boy was it a fantastic experience from beginning to end. You know, at first, I thought I'd be comparing this game to Resident Evil and Silent Hill and saying it's like those games, but with 30 years of game design lessons to pull from, but I'd be doing it a disservice. Crow Country is a product of love and care. It's not Resident Evil, it's not Silent Hill, it's its own thing, and I am so glad to have experienced it. Everything in this game screams quality. From the set design to all the little details everywhere, all the quality of life, the puzzles that are tuned just right, and especially the story. It's all just objectively good. sfbgames did a fantastic job with Crow Country, and it's easily my favorite game of 2024. It blew all my expectations and impressed me in many aspects. I'll definitely be on the lookout for their next game, which should release around 2029 if their track record is anything to go by. Anyway, Issa still has to try out the roller coaster, so this will be it for us for today. Thank you all for tuning in, and as